here's Brody Brazil.
I just want to say before anything else how much I feel for the Arizona Coyotes fan base right now and everything they're going through. Because this situation surrounding their team has seemingly become a lot more volatile and vulnerable in recent days and weeks. In fact, it was about a week ago when the team put out their official plans to participate in this state land auction. They wanted to buy 110 acres for at least $68.5 million. They wanted to secure the site, do this project in phases, and have their ultimate home for generations to come in the valley. And that seemed like a commitment. That seemed like a message to the fan base that they were absolutely staying, and with the exception of money, nothing else could really get in the way this time around. And yeah, they've been through several iterations of plans at this point. But then the mayor of Scottsdale came out, whether this was in his jurisdiction or not, to say that he would not support or assist with this plan. He told the Coyotes to go find another site, basically. And now we're getting reports that the NHL is preparing multiple versions of their schedule for next season, just in case the Desert Dogs relocate to Salt Lake City. Now, this Salt Lake City connection should come as no surprise. There's the Smith Group out there, which we'll discuss. They've been wanting an NHL team. This also should not come as a surprise because right now, this time of year, every year, the NHL is putting out a draft of their schedule for next season. It's being passed out to teams. It's being seen and heard and understood by more people. And so the whispers come out. People have seen this schedule. In this case, maybe they've seen two versions of the schedule. And this story is getting back to the publication Daily Faceoff and Frank Cervalli, who's reporting it. The headline says NHL drafting a 2024-25 schedule version with Coyotes relocated to Salt Lake City. The NHL is concurrently drafting two versions of a league schedule matrix for next season, one with the Arizona Coyotes and another with the Coyotes franchise playing in Salt Lake City in the event of relocation, multiple sources told Daily Faceoff. Again, there's a lot of people who are now seeing this and understanding the bigger picture. Whether the league knows something or they're just trying to be well prepared, obviously those things are on opposite sides of the spectrum, but something is indeed happening here for the league to have two different sets of schedules lined up. That does not mean the NHL has firmed up plans to relocate the franchise yet, just that the league has a viable contingency plan for next season. But the news comes on the heels of billionaire prospective owner Ryan Smith publicly soliciting potential names for an NHL team in Utah earlier this week. Yeah, that's right. He was on Twitter asking the fans, hey, if we get an NHL team expansion style, what should we call them? Drumming up interest, support, and obviously here, speculation. As the NHL has been working on dual paths, multiple sources indicate Coyotes owner Alex Meruelo is intimately involved in both. The first, of course, involves the Coyotes remaining in the Phoenix area by building that new arena via the Arizona State Land Trust auction, which is scheduled for June 27th. And it's unfortunate that the process of buying state land and the plot that they've selected, unfortunate that it takes so much time. If this could have gone quicker, less than the 10 weeks that the process takes, maybe a decision could be figured out. Next year could be figured out. Could they buy some more time? Instead, June 27th is so late. If that's what they're hinging the decision on, whether to stay or relocate for next season, that June 27th date is too late. I think the prudent thing to do, the conservative thing to do, would just say, hey, no matter what, next year we're at Mullet Arena. And then after that, based on all of this, a decision can come. But it seems like this issue is being, I don't want to say forced, but certainly pushed sooner than later. The second path involves Meruelo selling control of the franchise in a multi-layered process that would include the Smith Entertainment Group paying north of $1.2 billion, part of which is a relocation fee that would be distributed to league owners. Smith owns the NBA's Utah Jazz, and the yet-to-be-renamed NHL team would temporarily play in the basketball-oriented Delta Center until a multi-purpose arena could be built to adequately house both teams. I also want to point out, because I've been following this in recent weeks and months, the state of Utah has approved $1.8 billion for two things. $900 million for a brand new baseball stadium if, in fact, Major League Baseball ever comes to Salt Lake City. But they've also already approved $900 million of public money for a brand new NHL/NBA arena that would replace the, I don't want to say outdated Delta Center. I think it was built in the late 90s. It's been remodeled, but they're trying to get something new in Salt Lake City for the NBA team, the Jazz, who have been there for decades. And now, as they specifically try to lure the NHL, also as they'll try and host another Winter Olympics. Salt Lake City is making a push. They've got the public money lined up. They've got the ownership group lined up. Speaking of that, Ryan Smith said, quote, "We are interested. We are ready, and we're a partner," Smith told The Athletic this week. The arena is done. I guess he's talking about the Delta Center being a temporary home as soon as next year, and he's already said that too. We can take in a team as soon as next season. The arena is done. We think we have a solution, and that's my message to the NHL. Which brings up a different conversation. I understand the desire for different cities and markets and ownership groups to want to get into professional sports and teams and leagues. But how do you do it tastefully, right? How do you do it in a way that isn't overbearing, overdone, isn't insulting to the current Coyotes fan base, to the league? People like some kind of normalcy and tradition, and I don't think anybody takes great joy in relocation outside of the market that's getting a new team. In this case, it seems like the Smith Group would be buying it, so really wouldn't be relocation. It would be the movement of the franchise, but also the sale of the franchise. They would be getting essentially a clean slate here. But yeah, it brings up an interesting dynamic of how do you do this tastefully for fans across the league? Now, how quickly could this come? An announcement on a sale and relocation could come as soon as April 18th, according to the Daily Faceoff, the day after the Coyotes' final regular season home game at the 4,600-seat Mullet Arena on the campus of Arizona State University. Yeah, basically within a week. We got to keep our eyes and ears peeled to this. Sources briefed on the ongoing discussions indicated Meruelo could receive up to $1 billion for the Coyotes. The exact figures of the proposed transaction are speculated, and all details and mechanics of a proposed deal remain fluid. I think a lot of times values of teams and franchises are pretty much predetermined from external sources, but in this case, right, a purchase of this magnitude, I think you want to make sure you're buying it for the right price. You're also selling it for the right price. So to rush even this side of it seems kind of crazy, but again, that's why this deal is remaining fluid. Many questions remain, but one stands out, and I'll go with this one too. I have a question about this. With all of this happening behind the scenes, why did the Coyotes release arena renderings and a strongly worded commitment to Arizona last week? Essentially, that's what I started the video with. It's a roller coaster that started on a high for fans in Arizona and the Valley. It seemed like that was the team's commitment, and without question that they were going to do everything in their power to stay. And maybe they still are. Maybe this league side of it is just the NHL saying, all right, we're going to prepare because we're not sure about how this might play out, and we don't want to get caught empty-handed. Perhaps the answer is that Meruelo intends to win the June 27th land auction and develop that sports and entertainment district in the hopes of luring the NHL back to Arizona with a future expansion franchise. Whoa, this just got deep. So we're talking about selling the Coyotes, having them move, having Meruelo work on this current site and project and land bid that he's trying to do. Maybe it can take an extra year or so with the guarantee that the NHL would go back to him with an expansion franchise when it's ready. Sources said part of the agreement to sell now could include language that would allow Meruelo to reactivate the Coyotes franchise in future years, including name and trademarks, if a new arena is built and terms and conditions of the agreement with the NHL are met. Wow. That would be a rare move. Sell the current team, get some money off that, build out the new arena and site, and then the NHL would expand back into the Phoenix area. This just seems like a lot of moving parts, and I understand that the Coyotes are in this rough middle spot of the 4,600-seat arena, but Glendale and that building still sits there. And I know they took the ice plant out of the Footprint Center in downtown Phoenix, but isn't there also the Veterans Coliseum Arena? I mean, there's other options of just staying and keeping this team here and moving forward instead of moving the team out, selling them, and getting something brand new when it's ready. I understand, and I guess for Coyotes fans, maybe assuring the fact that they would have a future team would be a great consolation of this. They're going to lose the NHL for a couple years. They're keeping their owner, who has obviously been through some issues and trying to secure a site. I mean, this is just so much drama. This is such a confusing situation with so many elements and variables, but I did think it was important to pass along that the league is pretty much preparing for everything, including the potential of the Coyotes in Salt Lake City. Again, the potential, nothing certain here. Maybe this is just extra preparation and the league doing its diligence, but I mean, the tea leaves are out there and Salt Lake City's out there and the questions of the Coyotes are out there. So you put it all together, it's a complicated situation. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me and this video and this channel. And by the way, if you've never seen me or any of this before, that's great. I'm glad you found me, but do me a quick favor, go down and hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.